Aries, something changes this week before you even have time to emotionally prepare for it. A conversation, a realization, a sudden awareness that the direction you've been pushing toward may not actually be the direction your heart wants anymore. And because Mercury enters Gemini and immediately collides with Uranus, the shift happens quickly, almost too quickly for your usual instincts to keep up. You may wake up this week already feeling mentally overstimulated, like your nervous system knows something is approaching before your conscious mind catches up. Pay attention to that. Your intuition is trying to warn you about speed, because the danger this week is not failure. It's momentum. You've been running on force for so long that you may not notice when force stops serving you. Mars leaves fiery territory and enters Taurus this week, slowing your rhythm whether you like it or not. At first, this feels frustrating. Delays, resistance, other people moving too slowly. But emotionally, spiritually, this transit is trying to protect you from burning through something valuable simply because you refuse to pause. And deep down, I think you already know that. There's someone around you who isn't revealing everything yet. Not necessarily maliciously, more like they're uncertain how much truth the connection can survive. Around May 19th, Mercury trines Pluto while Venus enters Cancer, and suddenly emotional honesty becomes impossible to avoid. A guarded conversation may reveal fear beneath anger, or vulnerability beneath distance. This week asks you to stop interpreting silence as rejection. Some people pull away because they're overwhelmed, not because they stopped caring. Financially, this is also a revealing week. You may suddenly realize you've been investing energy into something that only feeds urgency instead of stability. Mars entering Taurus forces a practical question into your life. What are you building that can actually last? Not just emotionally, structurally. And that question matters because by the time the Sun conjuncts Uranus later in the week, your priorities may shift dramatically. A sudden opportunity, message, cancellation, or emotional revelation changes how you see the future. What felt certain last week may suddenly feel temporary. Do not panic if plans rearrange themselves. Gemini energy creates movement through disruption. And around the middle of the week, you may feel emotionally exposed in a way you haven't allowed yourself to feel for months. A memory returns. A regret resurfaces. Someone says something unexpectedly kind, and it breaks through your defenses more than criticism ever could. That's the real turning point. Not the external event, the emotional crack in the armor. Because Aries, you've been surviving through intensity for so long that softness now feels dangerous. But Venus entering Cancer is trying to teach you that emotional safety is not weakness. It's nourishment. It's repair. Toward the end of the week, be careful with assumptions in love. Venus squares Neptune, and projection becomes powerful. You may romanticize someone unavailable, or fear abandonment where none actually exists. Slow down before reacting emotionally to incomplete information. Ask directly. Clarify gently. Don't let anxiety write stories your heart will later suffer from. And one more thing. This week is not asking you to become smaller. It's asking you to become more deliberate. There's a difference. By the weekend, you may realize the universe didn't interrupt your momentum to punish you. It interrupted you because you were about to outrun yourself.
Aries, your tarot card is the Knight of Pentacles. This week is asking you to slow your pace before life slows it for you. The Knight of Pentacles is not dramatic energy. It is disciplined, deliberate, sustainable movement. And for you, that may feel frustrating at first because part of you wants immediate resolution, immediate clarity, immediate progress. But this card appears when rushing would create mistakes that take longer to repair later. There's also something important here about emotional consistency. Someone around you may not express emotion loudly, but their reliability tells you more than grand promises ever could. Pay attention to actions this week, not intensity, not chemistry, actions. Financially and professionally, this card favors patience and long-term planning. Something stable can grow now if you stop measuring success only through speed. The deeper message of the Knight of Pentacles is this: your future improves the moment you stop treating rest like failure.
Aries, you get hexagram 24, Earth over Thunder, Return. This hexagram speaks about cycles, emotional recalibration, and coming back to what is true after distraction or excess movement. And for you, this feels deeply connected to emotional pacing. You have been pushing forward so intensely that part of your spirit drifted away from itself. Return is not failure. Return is wisdom. This week may bring a realization that something you abandoned emotionally still matters. A dream, a connection, a softer version of yourself that survival forced you to suppress. The universe is asking you to pause long enough to hear your own inner voice again. Do not fear slowing down. There is healing in conscious correction. And emotionally, this hexagram says that even small changes in direction now can completely alter your future outcome later.
Aries, your rune is Ehwaz. Ehwaz is the rune of movement, partnership, trust, and aligned transition. But unlike chaotic momentum, Ehwaz speaks about movement that happens through cooperation with timing instead of resistance against it. This week asks you to stop forcing progress through sheer willpower. There is something in your life currently trying to evolve naturally, a relationship, a goal, a personal direction, but impatience could destabilize it prematurely. Ehwaz reminds you that sustainable change requires rhythm, not just speed. There's also a partnership message here. Someone around you may become unexpectedly important in helping you navigate an emotional transition. Allow support, instead of assuming you must carry everything independently. And emotionally, Ehwaz says this: trust the direction your life is moving, even if the pace temporarily frustrates you.
This week asked you to slow down long enough to hear what your spirit has been trying to say beneath the noise. Some truths arrived gently, others arrived suddenly, but all of them were trying to guide you back toward emotional alignment instead of emotional survival. If this reading resonated with you, leave a comment sharing what area of your life changed unexpectedly this week. I always love seeing how these energies unfold differently for each of you. And remember to also watch your rising sign horoscope. Very often, your rising sign reveals the deeper emotional storyline unfolding beneath the surface events. Take care of your heart this week, and I'll see you again soon beneath the stars.